Marketer of the Day, number 481. 6 practices in 1 hour a day that transform your life day by day with Gayle Guest Brown. Hey everyone, we're so glad you're listening. We're talking right now with Gayle Guest Brown, and she's an executive leadership coach, and she is going to share with us the 6 practices in 1 hour a day that transform your life day by day, along with a bunch of other great things. So how are things with you today, Gayle?
I'm wonderful. I'm very happy. It's raining in Sacramento and we need it. And so it's a good day.
And it's raining down here in Turtle Rock as well, but that's kind of good because it keeps a lot of the riffraff out, right? A lot of people want to stay home, so when I need to go out and do something, I have the town to myself.
Yeah, but the planet just needs the rain right now, especially in our neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. So great. So other than braving this rain that's happening, what is going on these days with you and your business?
Well, the business is, I've got a couple of offers, a couple of things going on. Do you want to talk about that first?
Sure, let's get it out of the way, right?
Okay, well, great. Well, it's a new year, so I'm starting off the new year with a webinar called Start 2018 on Purpose. And this is all about discerning what you were born to do, right? Living your life on purpose. And that just means living in alignment with your core values, your unique offerings, and skills, so that you are purposeful as you live this life. We only get one. And so we want to know, we want to live with intention. And so it's comprised of 4 virtual meetings, I use Zoom, you use Skype, but I use Zoom, and then 2 one-on-one 45-minute coaching sessions. And it will span between January and February, January 10th, January 30th, February 13th, and the 27th. They're all at 11:30 a.m. so people can take their lunch hour. They'll all be recorded, so they will, be able to see them later if they have to miss them. But for your group and your following, I have a special offer today, and this I'm offering for $297 regularly. But for your group, I'd like to offer it for $197, and they can go to my website at guestbrownimpact.com and look on the tab that says appointments, and they'll be able to sign up there. But for this offer, they'll need to contact me an email so they know that they're with Robert Plank's crew, and I will discount that by $100. And my email is at guestbrownimpact.com. So that's what we've got starting off the year. But I'm also very happy to announce that I am going to be publishing my book on April the 20th. And the title is Girl, Get It Right, an Impact Guide to Living the Life You Deserve. And I'm really excited about it. I've been working on this for about a year, but it is a book, a short book of actions, quotes, and inspirations to help them, you know, be intentional about the life they have and living the life they deserve. And so they can get that. I'm pre-selling that on my website as well, but also just they can contact me at my email to sign up for that. That'll be fun.
Super cool. Yeah, and is that it or is there more?
You know what? I have a special offer for your clients as well, and it's $90, 90 minutes for $90, and that's a strategy session for those who don't want to take a webinar, but they want to just get their new year off to a good start. They're dealing with a sticky subject or a difficult issue that they might want some coaching around, and they can connect to me on my website for that too. $90, 90 minutes for $90, and that's what the special will be called, 90 for 90.
Well, great. And where do people claim that if they want it?
They would send me an email because I don't have it on my website yet. I just decided to do that today. And they can send me an email at guestbrownimpact@gmail.com, and in the subject line put 90 for 90. And I'll send them an invoice, or they can pay by going to paypal.me/guestbrownimpact/90. And that will allow them to pay, and we'll get together with a date and time that works for both of us, and we'll get it done in 2 45-minute sessions or a 90-minute session if they desire.
Well, super cool. Well, thanks for offering all those options, and we'll circle back around to those offers at the end there. And I'm glad that you put that out there first, because you mentioned a few terms that I've heard before and I've heard used together before, but I want to be clear on what that actually means, because I mean, as you know, sometimes people get caught up in the jargon, or they kind of hear something said and they pass it along. But you mentioned things like having your core values and being intentional and things like that. And I mean, what do those things mean in your own words, and what sorts of things do you see all of us missing in our day-to-day life, in our business and things like that?
Wonderful. I think core values and working on your core values are important, and working in alignment with them. And it's important to spend some time kind of discerning what they are, because they're guiding principles. Sometimes they're guiding principles through life that can help guide you in deciding whether you want to take a job or not, whether that job's lined up with your values, right? And we all have them, but we sometimes haven't taken the time to sit down and kind of assess what those are. And so we can certainly do that. That's one of the first steps we're going to do when we do the webinar called Start 2018 on Purpose. And working in your unique giftings. We'll be doing an assessment on spiritual gifts, as well as what's the name of that other assessment we'll do? We'll do it on strength, our strength finders, right? And this is just to help us align to our core values, our strengths, and our giftings, and that way walk out the life where we're naturally gifted to serve,
Okay, so you're saying that this thing called core values, it helps us to make these life decisions and know if taking that job is the right thing or quitting that job is the right thing, stuff like that. So when you say core values, what does that mean exactly?
So values are, when we think about goals, they're kind of like short term, but values are long term guides for our life. And values might be things like, I have a value for integrity. I have a value for diversity. I have a value for fun. I have a value for, and so the list goes on. I mean, I have many values, right? But I have a value for collaboration. But getting clear on the core values, like maybe the top 10, can really help you get clarity around where you're working in your life.
So you said that, so you have things like fun, diversity, integrity, but where do those come from? Like, do you just like think of what words come to you? Do you look in the dictionary? Do you have someone like suggest ones to you? How did you land on the values that you landed on?
It's an interesting exercise I do with my clients, because we call it the peak experience exercise, and I walk them through a peak experience. And it's a little bit long to get into here, but it helps to bring forth what's important to them. And we brainstorm those from that peak experience exercise. and then we kind of prioritize the values after that. But walking through that peak experience exercise, and it's a peak experience for a reason. There's a reason why that's a peak experience for people, because it really is hitting on their core values. It's hitting on what's important to them and what's important to them at their core. Now, there might be some outside of that, because that's just one experience, and we have many values, but it's certainly going to be, you look at the ones that you come up mentally with, the things that you think you're supposed to be doing, like collaboration. I know I'm supposed to collaborate, right? So that might be one of the values I put on a piece of paper. But you'll be looking for the intersection between your lived experiences and what's on that paper to come up with your core values.
Okay, so like a little bit of what I'm hearing from this is that, so you have this exercise where people figure out their peak experiences, get these things listed, prioritize them. It sounds like just in general that maybe a lot of us out there, we think we know what these things like our values or our goals or our plans are, but getting them on paper is a whole different story. And even something as silly as getting a few things written down, even though we might think we have it all stored in our head, maybe by getting things on paper, we can actually be clear about what we want, because something in our head, it can change over time. You put it on a piece of paper, it's stuck there, you look at it a few weeks or months later, it's still written the same as it always was. So maybe getting some of these things on paper helps us just get clear as far as what we want, and maybe we don't realize it until it's down there on paper.
It actually does help you get clearer, and there's a lot of work that goes into that, and that's kind of getting off into the Live on Purpose webinar. And I could do that, but we really promised your listeners that we'd be speaking about 6 practices to transform their lives day by day.
All right, sure. So
do
what
you
are
want to?
those?
Yeah, okay. So let me talk about that for a little bit, because we're only going to be on this call for 20 minutes. And they can reach out to me about more on core values, because that does take a little bit of time and work and energy to do. But it's important if you're talking about living your life on purpose.
All right, so what do you have for us?
Okay, so let's talk about 6 practices to transform your life in 10 minutes a day. Because I mean, this was really important for me to get up every day with purpose and intention, right? With balance. So whether you're a coach or an entrepreneur or an employee, the early bird gets the worm. We've all heard that. And we know that we are all wanting to be successful, but it doesn't happen by chance. Success is intentional. It happens because we plan for it and we work for it. 80% of success is mindset. And so it's important that you begin your day powerfully, right? In alignment, in balance, and on purpose. And so this is what these 6 practices are designed to do. And I've modified them a little bit, but I read a book by Hal Elrod. I don't know if you've heard of Miracle Morning.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So those practices, I've just modified them just a little bit, but they were really instrumental for me. And they are keys to getting up and setting your mind and getting into your day powerfully. So one of the ideas is just to spend 10 minutes a day in these 6 different areas. And we've chosen these 6 different areas on purpose because they represent your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. And we want to make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders when we get into our day. We will need all the power we need so we can muster. So I begin each day with 10 minutes of silence. And so I have these 10 minutes in each of these different practice areas. And those practice areas are silence, reading, affirmation, visualization, journaling, and light exercise. So silence, and that comes to about an hour. Now I'm not saying, and I'm saying get up early to do this. I'm not saying short yourself sleep, because sleep is so important. NPR just did a recent study on the biology of sleep and all of the benefits of getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So that is important too. So we don't want to short self. So that means you're going to go to bed early and you're going to get up an hour earlier, because before the day starts, before the husband gets up, before the kids gets up too. So you set this time aside just for you to get your mind together, to get your mindset on track and in alignment with what you want to accomplish that day. So for me, that first 10 minutes are silence. Now, some days it's stressful. I've got a lot going on and I can't do 60 minutes. I can only do a half hour. I do a half hour, but I do something each day to get my mind going. But it's either silence or prayer. For me, it's prayer. I'm a Christian woman, and my prayer life is important to me. Sometimes it's hard to get in. So here's where I do it. I do 10 minutes of silence or prayer, or both, 5 minutes each, something like that. You know, there's been a recent study that showed that mice exposed to 2 hours of silence a day develop new cells in their hippocampus region of their brain. And that section of the brain is associated with memory, emotion. And so it's an important area, that silence, that time to yourself. Sometimes I just sit out of the window and take in the day. The next step is 10 minutes of reading. You know, when you're out there, whether you're changing your life or in a new profession or a new job, or you're after some new hairy goal, it's important to keep your mind sharp, and yet we don't feel like we have time for it. And so it's important to set some time aside for reading. So 10 minutes of reading. Sometimes you don't want to put that book down, but you have to because you've got other things to do. But I've completed probably 5 books this year just in 10 minutes a day, right? Sometimes that time for me is my time to read the Bible. That Bible is the most well-read book on the planet. So I sometimes feel like I need to spend more time there, and that's where I get it done. So we've talked about silence and reading. And the third area is, and you don't have to do them in this area, this is the order I've chosen, but affirmations. And for people who are going through particularly tense times, times of transformation, times of trial, affirmations are so important. And they're easy. It's just a positive statement. It's in the present tense, and it's a proclamation. It's, something positive that's going to spur you that day, some goal that you're after. You know, when I began my business, one of the things I had to remind myself is that, and I would say this affirmation, Gayle, you come from a long line of entrepreneurial, accomplished, resilient, faithful, and resourceful people. Right? I had to remind myself that it's in my blood, it's in my genes. I can do this. And that's what an affirmation does. It gets you going. It's a statement. So some people read affirmational books like a daily devotion, and that's great too. I do that as well. But it's just as powerful to come up with your own positive affirmations that are pulled from your life. Another one is visualization. So the next one is, if you can see it and you can achieve it. That's how I think about it. And it's powerful how well visualization works in attracting those things to you. So by now, I think everybody has a vision board. If you don't have a vision board, you can take that 10 minutes of silence each day, or 10 minutes and create your vision board in 10 minutes a day. And that's just images that you pull from newspapers or the internet of what you want to have in your life. It's so important to get that vision in front of you and get it in a place where you can see it every day and look at it. So that's another good thing to do. And then the 5th one is journaling. After I've thought about my affirmations and what I want to accomplish in my life, and I visualize them, I also journal. People don't feel like they have time for journaling, but it's a good time. I love to look back on my journal and see how far I've come and what my thoughts were on a particular day. But it's paying attention to what's inside of you for the purpose of living, outside well. So I can't remember whose quote it was, but it was, pay attention to the inside for the purpose of living well from the inside out. Very strong quote. I should remember that person's name, but I'll have to look it up. And then last but not least is just 5 or 10 minutes of light exercise, whether that's stretching, weights, or sit-ups or push-ups, just to get the blood going and pumping, and to keep your body in alignment with what you want to accomplish. You have to have these strong bodies, right? And so if you're doing squats for 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day and push-ups, you're telling your body, hey, we're going to meet this day powerfully, and we're going to do it well. So that's it. Those are the 6 practices that can transform your life in just 10 minutes, 10 minutes each a day, an hour a day to transform your life day by day. It's powerful. It works. It's worked for me. So I'm a witness. Any questions about those, Robert?
I mean, no, not really. Just let me recap here. So those 6 tasks that you say we should be doing, 10 minutes a day. So we group them all. So that way we do 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. That way we have an hour in the morning where we went to bed an hour earlier and then woke up an hour earlier, and we were able to have 10 minutes of silence or prayer, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of listening to affirmations, 4 minutes of visualization like our vision board, 5 minutes of journaling, and then 6 minutes of 5 to 10 minutes of light exercise. And this all sounds great because, as you probably know, a lot of people, when they say, oh, my life is bad for all these reasons, they're super hard on themselves, and they think that they have to suddenly become this like superhero megastar and suddenly spend half their day lifting weights and running 5 miles. And this is all great because these are just little things that we can begin adding to our day, and this way it's not like we're having to exercise for a whole hour or journal for a whole hour. Just these little bits of time that will add up over time that probably a lot of people forget or neglect to do for months and months. Next thing you know, they went the whole year without doing some reading. And if they'd only done a couple of pages of reading every day, they would have read a whole book. If they had just done a little bit of exercise every day, maybe they would have lost a few pounds. So this all sounds very doable. And as we're beginning to wind down here, though, do you have any advice for making this sort of thing stick? Because it's really easy to jump in and do something for a few days or even a week, but do you have any advice if people are looking to implement these 6 things every morning? How do we make sure that when we look back in 3, 6, 9 months that this is stuck with us every single day? Any tips on that?
Yeah, so it's like anything else. Sometimes we get started and then life happens and we put it down. But the important thing is to pick it back up again. So life does happen for some people. Big things happen sometimes and they can't help but put it down. But it's important to pick it back up and start again. And the other thing is to prepare your environment for it. So I have a place that's waiting for me every morning. I know there's a glass of water there there's a blanket there, there's a pillow there, and it's my prayer room. But everybody doesn't have that. But somewhere where you can go in your house, prepare that, have your journal, have your pencil and paper already prepared in that room. And so you just get up in the morning and you go there. Also, if you can talk to your family and prepare them for your new routine, it helps you helps them for them to support you and let them know, hey, I'm going to bed early so I can get up early, and I need this focus time for me right now. I'm really in a shift. I'm in a transition and I need to focus. And so if you can give me this time back, I'll promise, we can still have dinner at this time, but to prepare the people around them to support them is another way. And not to be so hard on themselves. If they miss a couple of days, okay, well, it's your life. Just start again, right? I don't know, for me, it was important that I had a new journal. But I was just that way. When the school year started every year, I wanted to have new pen and paper, and I was ready for the school year, right? And so it was the same way when I started journaling again. I had to get a new journal, and I had to have my special pen, and I had my water, I had my place where I was going to do that, and my place where I was going to have these materials waiting for me. I'm lucky I have a room just for that. Everybody doesn't have that. So make space in your house somewhere, whether it's just your favorite chair, and have those articles nearby.
That's really good advice. I love it. And it seems like it's just making it easy enough so that you can just jump on them the next day. Like you have your blanket, your water there, you have everything there. So that way you don't have that excuse of, oh, I have to go find the blanket, I have to go get the thing of water. It's already set up so you have everything in place ahead of time to make it super easy on yourself. So I mean, this is all really great advice for those of us who maybe need to punch it up a little bit, or want to use our mornings better, or if we feel like, we just can't get the day started or we're sluggish, then maybe the answer could be in having a better morning routine. So if you out there listening, if you want to have a better morning routine, then maybe listen to this show a couple of times, this episode, so that way you can really know what you need to do, and that way you can get the most out of that morning hour to get those 6 things knocked up. And once again, just to make sure that you people all have the links, the URLs, the place to go if you liked what Gayle Guest Brown has to say and you want to claim her offer for that $90 in 90 minutes, you can email her at guestbrownimpact@gmail.com. And then if you want to check out the other things she has going on, you can go to guestbrownimpact.com, and then when you buy her offer there, if you want to get the discount, then after buying, or I guess before, or I don't know, should they email before or after buying, Gayle?
Well, they should email before, because it's going to be a special price for them, right? So the offer on my Facebook page is $297, and that's at GGB Coaching. I don't want you to pay $297. I want you to pay $197. And so you can just email me and say Robert Plank podcast, and I'll know that you need that special price, and I will send you an invoice.
All right, super great. Wasn't sure if it was like a partial refund type of thing. So make sure before buying, email at guestbrownimpact@gmail.com and say Robert Plank sent you, and that way you can get the special discount link, and then we'll see you over there. And also don't forget to pick up Gayle's new book, Girl Get It Right. And that way you can get a handle on what you need to do. You're going to have superior productivity. You're going to have the happiness that you want. You can get everything done and then leave everyone wondering, gee, how does she or he have it so together? How the heck does this person have all the focus and the energy? And it seems like they're not pounding a bunch of caffeine, or they're not, sleeping 12 hours a day. They seem to always get it right. Well, maybe it's because you got your mornings right. So we'll see you over there at guestbrownimpact.com, where you can check out those offers. And I want to thank you so much, Gayle, for stopping by and sharing some of this great wisdom with us. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Happy New Year.
Don't wait for perfection. Don't spend more than 1 hour at a time at the computer. Don't do more than 4 things per day, and don't let projects take longer than 3 days. These are just some of the insights you'll discover in our new book, The Checklist Mindset. Claim your copy at www.checklistmindset.com right now today.